Hello Keyforgers, round 3 of series 4. We are on to Worlds Collide. Maybe an anomaly will show itself today. Let's have a look. No Brobnar, no Brobnar, no Brobnar. The Fervent Doctor. Red Archon. No Brobnar. We have Star Alliance, Saurians and Untamed. And a very... well, that's 6 legs with either a big head or no head and their shoulder pads. I don't know. Let's take a closer look. Close up of that Archon there. Bottom card coming out. We are starting with Untamed. Perilous Wilds is an action. You get an amp when you play it. Play. Destroy each elusive creature. And of course our next creature is elusive. Feathered Shaman, 2 power. Fight, Reap, ward each of Feathered Shaman's neighbours. Kangaphant, 5 power. Each creature gains Reap, destroy this creature. Grasping Vines is an action. You get an amp when you play it. Play. Return up to 3 artifacts to their owner's hands. A second Grasping Vines. Unsuspecting Prey is an action. Play, deal 2 damage to up to 3 undamaged creatures. Unnatural Selection is an action. You get an amp when you play it. Play. Choose 3 friendly creatures and 3 enemy creatures. Destroy each other creature. That is a thick card. The Fittest is an action. You get an amp when you play it. Play. Give each friendly creature a +1 power counter. Song of the Wild is an action. Play. For the remainder of the turn, each friendly creature gains a Reap, gain 1 amber. Regrowth is an action. You get an amp when you play it. Play. Return a creature from your discard pile to your hand. Molefin, 3 power, hazardous 3. After amber is stolen from you, deal 1 damage to each enemy creature for each amber stolen. Key Charge is an action. Play, lose 1 amber. If you do, you may forge a key at current cost. That was Untamed. Moving on to Star Alliance. We have Kirby's Blaster, which is an upgrade. You get an amp when you play it. This creature gains Fight, Reap. You may deal 2 damage to a creature or attach Kirby's Blaster to Com Officer Kirby. After you attach Kirby's Blaster to Com Officer Kirby, draw 2 cards. Quadricorder is an upgrade. Your opponent's keys cost +1 amber for each house represented among friendly creatures to a maximum of 3. Nurse Soto, 3 power deploy. Play, Fight, Reap, heal 3 damage from each of Nurse Soto's neighbours. Red Alert is an action. Play, if there are more enemy creatures than friendly creatures, deal damage to each enemy creature equal to the difference. Light of the Archons is an upgrade. You get an amp when you play it. This creature gets +1 power and +1 armour for each upgrade attached to it. Explo Rover, 3 power skirmish. Explo Rover may be played as an upgrade instead of a creature. With a text, this creature gains Skirmish. Commander Chan, 4 power. Fight, Reap, use another friendly creature. A second Commander Chan. There's Com Officer Kirby, 3 power. Play, Fight, Reap. You may play a non-Star Alliance artifact, upgrade or action card this turn. Ooh, a second Com Officer Kirby. And a third Com Officer Kirby. Wow. Chief Engineer Wolves, 2 power elusive. Play, Fight, Reap. You may return an upgrade or robot card from your discard pile to your hand. Finally on to Saurians. We're starting out with Spartosaurus, 6 power, 1 armor. After a friendly creature is destroyed, destroy each non-dinosaur creature. Fight, gain 2. Tricerion, a legionary, 5 power, 1 armor with taunt. Play, ward a friendly creature. A second one. Therocenurion, 6 power, 1 armor. Play, Fight, capture 1 amber. Questajata, 3 power elusive. Reap, you may exalt Questajata. If you do, gain 1 amber. Praefectus Ludo, 5 power. Each other friendly creature gains destroyed. Move each amber on this creature to the common supply. Phalanx Strike is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play, choose a creature. Deal 1 damage to it for each friendly creature. You may exalt a friendly creature to repeat the preceding effect. Imperium is an action. You get an amp when you play it. Play, ward 2 friendly creatures. Imperial Scutum is an upgrade. You get an amp when you play it. This creature gains +2 armor and gains destroyed. Move each amber on this creature to the common supply. A second Scutum. Chant of Hubris is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play, move 1 amber from a creature to another creature. Brutodon Auxiliary, 6 power with taunt and hazardous 2. Very strong Saurian house there. Let's have a closer look. I think we've got lucky here, Keyforgers. We have a Worlds Collide deck without Brobnar, and it's pretty decent. We had 13 printed amber, 13 actions, 18 creatures, no artifacts, but 5 upgrades. If we head straight into amber control, we can start out with Saurians. Therio Centurion, 6 power, 1 armor, big beefy body, play fight, capture 1 amber. Now, capturing Exalting in this deck, we don't have much of it, but what we do have, we probably don't mind because we have 2. Imperial Scutum. Creature gets +2 armor, making it a bit more survivable, and then it gets destroyed with each amber on this creature to the common supply, so our opponent's not going to get it back. We have Praefectus Ludo, 5 power. Gives all of our friendly creatures destroyed, move each amber on this creature to the common supply. Our opponent is probably not getting any amber we capture or exalt onto our creatures back when we play this deck. The Chant of Hubris, an action that allows us to move 1 amber from a creature to another creature. Most likely from our creatures to their creatures, so when we destroy their creatures, we can get that amber in our pool. We have Quadricorder. Your opponent's keys cost +1 amber for each house represented among friendly creatures to a maximum of 3. This does sneak up pretty quickly, and we do have plenty of ways to make the creature it's attached to quite survivable in this deck. No active steal, unfortunately, so amber generation a little bit slower than our previous decks. We had the 2 Commander Chan in Star Alliance. Use another friendly creature. We could use that to reap to generate amber. We could use an action. We could use an Omni ability. We don't have an Omni ability, I don't think, but it's still there. It's an out-of-house cheat. In Untamed, we had Song of the Wild. Unfortunately, we've only got 3 creatures in Untamed. And this action gives our creatures reap gain 1, so it's reap gain 2. So possibility of getting quite a bit of amber? Not really. But I'm sure if we play the deck enough, we'll find some opportunity to gain some amber from it. In Saurians, we had Questijata, 3 power elusive, reap. We can exalt it, which I said we don't mind doing, and if we do, we gain 1, so it's reap, generate 2. And then we have Spartosaurus, 6 power, 1 armor. Fight ability of gain 2, which is pretty good, but it says after a friendly creature is destroyed, destroy each non-dinosaur creature, so you want him in play on his own. If one of our creatures dies, it pretty much wipes the board of all non-dinosaur creatures, so just be very, very careful if you play him. Artifact control. We had 2 Grasping Vines. Return up to 3 artifacts to their owner's hands. That's 0, 1, 2, or 3, so we get to choose. We do not have any artifacts in the deck, so it will be solely artifact control for our opponent. If they've got an artifact in each house, this could really slow them down, because they'll only be able to play 1 per turn. Does prevent the use of Omni abilities, actions, and very good for bouncing stuff like Redacted and resetting the targets on those passive abilities as well. Creature control. We had the Phalanx Strike in Saurians. Deal 1 damage for each friendly creature, and we can exalt a friendly creature to repeat the effect, which, like I said, we don't mind doing. If on the off chance we are getting outrushed by creatures, we do have a red alert. If there are more enemy creatures than friendly creatures, we deal damage equal to the difference in creatures. And then the rest of the control was in Untamed. We had the Unnatural Selection. We choose 3 creatures, friendly ones, and 3 creatures, enemy ones, and then we destroy all the other creatures. We had Perilous Wild, which works quite well in this deck because we don't really have any elusive creatures. So if our opponent is playing Shadows, this is going to be quite an effective card. Destroy each elusive creature. The Unsuspecting Prey, direct damage, 2 damage to up to 3 undamaged creatures. So just remember that, undamaged creatures. We have the Kangaphant, 5 power. Now it does give every creature reap, destroy this creature. So again, not always a card you're going to want to play. If your opponent is very heavily reliant on reaping, we do have options to put this on the board and protect it quite well so our opponent can't take it out, so it will slow them down from reaping. And then we had a little bit of what I would call amber control, but your opponent will probably be aware of it, and that's in Molfin. 3 power, the hazardous 3. After amber is stolen from you, deal 1 damage to each enemy creature for each amber stolen. If you're playing in the casual, make your opponent aware of this. If it's a tournament, they should be aware of it anyway, but I've seen online games, people just rage quit because they've stolen amber and they didn't realise this was in play, and they're like, what's happened to my battle lines? So, up to you if you want to inform your opponent about it. Now, we did have, as part of control, Kirby's Blaster. It's an upgrade. Creature gains Fight Reap, deal 2 damage to a creature, or we can attach Kirby's Blaster to Com Officer Kirby. After you attach it to Com Officer Kirby, you draw 2 cards. Now, we did have 3 Com Officer Kirby in the deck, which really helps with our efficiency. But there's been an errata, new ruling, I think it's quite an old ruling actually, when Worlds Collide came out and these blasters happened, where once you've attached Kirby's Blaster to a Kirby, it is that Kirby's Blaster, and what you can't do is attach it to one and then pass it down the line, because if we could, we'd actually draw 6 cards generating 3 amber, and that would be nuts. So if it's on a Kirby, you can't bounce it to another Kirby. Otherwise, it would be insane. But those Comms Officer Kirbys, play Fight Reap, play a non-Star Alliance artifact, upgrade or action. Well, it won't be an artifact, but it could be an action or an upgrade. That's an out-of-house cheat as well, so it's really going to help speed up our deck. There was some recursion, and that was the regrowth. Return a creature from your discard pile to your hand. And then we had Chief Engineer Walls, 2 power elusive, so it's the only creature that really suffer from that Perilous Wilds we talked about earlier. Play Fight Reap, you can return an upgrade or robot card from your discard pile to your hand. We have 5 upgrades, a couple of creatures that can be used as upgrades, which will also be considered robots, so very, very versatile there. Nice way of getting that quadricorder back in play. We also had a key charge. Key cheat for Untamed. Lose 1 amber. If you do, you may forge a key at current cost. So if there's no increase on your key cost, just make sure you got 7 before you play this and not 6, because you lose 1 before you can do that other part of the action. Now, like I said, we do have some ways of really protecting our creatures in this deck. Just put the key charge up there. We had a lot of ward. We had the Imperium. Action, play it, ward 2 friendly creatures. Fantastic. Tricerian Legionary. 5 power, 1 armor with taunt. So not only is it going to protect, but actually when you play it, you get to ward a friendly creature as well. Brutodon Auxiliary. 6 power taunt with hazardous 2. We can really protect those Com Officer Kirbys with a Molefin. Maybe put a quadricorder on something. And then protect it with these big Saurian taunts. We had in Untamed the Feathered Shaman, 2 power elusive. Again, be wary of that Perilous Wilds, but Fight Reap, ward each of Feather Shaman's neighbours. We had the Fittest. Give each friendly creature a +1 power counter. Our creatures are pretty hefty anyway. I mean, 3 power up, 2 power creatures. They might benefit from that +1 power. We had the Nurse Soto. 3 power deploy. Play Fight Reap, heal 3 damage from each of its neighbours. The Explo Rover. 3 power skirmish, or you can play it as an upgrade and give another creature skirmish. Put it on your Spartosaurus, you've got a 1-man army right there that generates a lot of amber. What you might want to do is put Light of the Archons on him as well. Give it +1 power and +1 armor for each upgrade attached to it. Plus it's got skirmish. That's a 1-man band right there that generates 2 amber every time it fights. Getting a little bit overwhelmed? Put a non-dinosaur creature down and destroy it yourself. Spartosaurus will wipe the board. But yeah, I can't believe it. 3rd deck in a row, pretty good. Makes up for our last dismal series that we had. All that remains for me to say is good luck, have fun, keep forging.